All right, everyone have a seat. Let's get started. Let's talk money, stock interest. This unit is on financial literacy. And I remember saying it one time before that if you want to be financially free in this day and age with all that inflation going on, salary is not the way to go. Now, when you get to grade 11, hopefully you will get so knowledgeable in grade 11 math on exponential units or exponential functions that the teacher, when they apply it to money, everything will click. I'm doing that right now with my grade 11 M class, and I really hope that they will take to it because it's something that they can recognize, that they can appreciate the idea of money or value going up. In your case, being at grade 9 level, we're going to strictly stick to something called simple interest. So what is interest? Hands up. A couple people. Yep. Something like that. That's not a bad way to put it. In simple terms, you put something in and you're going to get back a little more than you put in. Correct? Yeah. Anyone else have an idea? Well, it's possible, but we wouldn't call that interest, right? And hold on, I know you have something to say. Anyone know where the concept of interest comes from? Because obviously you know that thanks to it, but it's actually embedded in a deep culture. Anyone know? Interest was actually a form of thanks embedded in Jewish culture. In Jewish culture. So biblically, or based on, I believe, their culture, their principles of the what is their religious book called? The Word of God, right? It's Jewish. So it's not. So if it is said that if you borrow from someone, right? So the people of God, if you borrow from someone as a form of thanks, it was actually a command from up above to give back what you owe and then some, as a form of thanks, right? And so that idea was very prevalent in that culture. And then one day, banks saw that, and they're like, why can't we do it? We have a lot of money.
No, it's not enough. They don't do it for their own culture only. They also now they use it as like a publicity. Well, not publicity, but always for people to sign for their bank.
Well,
one day
yeah.
interest that's better than another bank. Always decided to do first.
Well,
that's what people do now.
This is true. So again, banks saw this and they're like, what a great way for us to make money from it, right? And so right now the world is sort of run on interest.
Is that why there's the Jewish stereotype that we're all bankers? My family is Jewish.
I'm not sure actually.
That's like a stereotype.
I understand that I believe there's a stereotype that Jewish people are often well off because they're very frugal and smart with their money. And they only spend based on value. Oftentimes, well, at least that was a long time ago when I was a kid. I don't know about now, but maybe. I don't know where that might come from.
Yeah, I heard that was bankers and greed.
I don't know about greed, but yeah. Let's say that. Wow, that I did not know. If that is true, that is pretty.
People think it's actually like anti-Semitic.
Really?
I know a lot of people didn't know that.
I know like historically, like Jewish people, they had a theory where they would trade only amongst each other, but they would allow others to like they would make money off of others, so therefore they would keep their wealth. Well, I don't.
Again, yeah, so now we're getting to a realm that I'm not quite sure of. I just want to talk about interest. Okay, so all of you might have a very valid point. I cannot confirm or deny it, unfortunately. As long as it's not necessarily accusational, I'm good with having talks and discussions. But let's talk a little bit about here. In terms of simple interest, this is a definition we are going to use. Okay. When a customer places their money in a savings account, they're essentially lending money to the bank. It sounds like your money is safe, and it's true. Your money is safe, technically. But that bank, by receiving your trust, they can actually do things with that money, albeit digitally. And because you are keeping your money with them, as a thank you, they'll give you a small cut from the money that they make using your own. So it's sort of like this. Finn, I got this great service. If you give me your $1 million and put it in my pocket, in 1 year, I'll give you 1% back. Isn't that amazing? You get $10,000 for free. Just keep that money with me for 1 year and you'll get $10,000. Sounds good? Sounds good? Handshake? Handshake? Okay. Now I got $1 million in my pocket. Why? Because right around the corner, I know some chump who's really need that money to set up their business, right? On the beach side, right? Selling oysters and Kamado scooters and whatever, right? To all the other rich people, right? I know that if I set up a nice patio restaurant on the Woodbine beachfront or the boardwalk, I know I'll have customers. I'm gonna make bank. Bank, I need $1 million. Like, oh, really? How bad do you need it? I need it really badly. Okay, I'll give you $1 million, but for every day that you borrow from me, every day, I'm gonna charge you interest.
2%.
Could be more, right? So overall, maybe, well, right now, what's the borrowing rate of a mortgage? Is it like 2, 3, 4%? So let's say I charge you know what, $1 million is a lot of money, right? So I need to be sure that I'm getting some money back. So I'm gonna ask you, pay me 4%.
You're getting $40,000 a day.
Or no, so for the entire year.
Oh,
So he borrows, of course, he's not gonna pay back 4% in 1 year, right? So I'm making lots of money, and all I have to do is give him back 10,000. That's the bank. That's the bank.
and Finn gets $1 million back.
So I'm getting 3% every year just for doing the same thing.
Yeah, so in that case, banks are more like.
They're the middle person.
Yeah, the middle person.
That's the middle person.
Translate.
What if this like not work like a bank, like just started with it, like, let's say the person gave you $1 million and then you spend, they're like, yeah, I want to take out 500,000 from my bank and $1 million, like.
Well, yes, if you want, that's why it might be a little hard to set up your own bank. But there are plenty of people that set up a mortgage business. Yes. For as long as he is in debt, I'm collecting money. For as long as he borrowed money from me, the contract says he has to pay me. So if it takes 25 years to pay me back $1 million, he's giving me interest for that 25 years too. Pretty good deal, huh?
Wait,
And all I gotta do is give Finn $10,000. Yes.
but is it 10,000 a year? So like,
Yep.
if the money is like 5 years, then I get like
50,000. Yeah. But during that time, he's paying me more money, right? So I'll collect that money and find someone else to lend it to. So I'm making money off of your money. And then the interest that I get from him, I'm using it to make money off of someone else. It becomes a chain reaction. Just because you gave me your money. It's your rent.
just a way that for the block.
Yeah. Let's continue. Okay. For every dollar that they lend or rent to me, I will agree to pay them a portion of that amount each year. The amount paid back to them is called interest. Does that make sense? That example? Most savings account pay simple interest, a certain percentage, and it doesn't change. Simple interest is calculated using the formula I, interest. Interest that you get is equal to PRT. Here are some bank terms. P is principal. Principal is the starting amount. You will see that in any financial situation, the word principal. So do not be fooled. People on their phones, listen. Principal, not the vice, not like Mr. Marshall, okay? That's not, it's a different kind of principal, right? They spelled it wrong. This should actually be LE. No, you're right. This is AL, sorry. My bad, okay? The principal is the amount borrowed, so the starting amount. R is the interest rate. How much per year, how much per month, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's a certain percentage, but we have to write it as a decimal. Pop quiz. If I say the interest rate is 1%, what is that as a decimal? Yes, 2 decimal places, okay? We'll get to that. You'll see it in an example. And T, because the rate is usually told in years, like 1% a year, 4% a year, the time is also going to be in years. And then after we calculate the interest, we simply add that amount to what we had before, and that would be the final amount that's left over. Let's do this as an example because there's no point in us just talking about it without learning how to use it. So bear with me. I'm going to write the equation right here. Sorry, I equals P R T. $1,500 is borrowed for 2 years at a rate of 6% per annum. If you have a pencil, would you write this down? It's 6% per annum. So the root word is annual. Annum means per year. This means per year, per annum. A. Right there. This part right here is per annum. Determine the amount of simple interest. Okay, so I need to find I. Yes. P, what's the original amount? 1,500 is the original amount that was borrowed. What is the rate?
0.06.
Correct. 0.06, right? And I'll put a little bracket, 6%. 6% is 6 per 100, right? Think French. CENT, cent, is 100. And time, well, it says 2 years. Putting that together, isn't that pretty simple? This is how much I earn. Oh, this is how much I start with. I multiply this by 6%. So that's how much I will earn at the end of the year. And how many years passed by? 2. And the calculator. Yep. So this is $1,500 and you earn 6% on it, which means you will earn, let me put a little box around it. You will earn $90 every year. And so you multiply that by how many years pass and you get $180 total. 1,500 times 6% is equal to $90. This part right here is $90. That's every year. And then you multiply this by 2 years, and so you get $180. What is the total amount? Look at the equation. The total amount A is the principal plus whatever interest I earn. That's $1,500 plus the 1,800. That gives you 1,680. After 2 years, my $1,500 became 1,680. Now I know it's not much for 2 years, but it's still free money just for keeping it safe somewhere. And any amount is better than nothing, right? Who in this world will give you a free penny, right? Just because. Yes.
You like pay some money on the bank, accept it.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. Typically, if they are going to agree with a high interest rate like this, then they make you sign a contract saying you're going to not touch it. Well, that's why it's called GIC, Guaranteed Investment something. I forget. I don't know.
So is it that, like, you do that with like a savings account and you have a separate spending account?
Yeah. So typically a savings account will only allow you to take out like once or twice a year or twice a month or something. If you take out more than once or twice a month, they make you pay a fee, which sort of sucks. So if that's not you, if that's not your lifestyle, then you don't want a savings account. You might want something like a checking account. Okay, questions? Sure. That's getting a little deeper. It's the idea of inflation, right? It's the idea of inflation. $1 today is worth less than $1 a month ago.
It's very slight.
Right? That's the idea of inflation. That's why a salary can't keep up. You can't keep up with inflation. Yes.
So if you were to have inflation, you guys would take money out, right? So what is your normal money? You only have that
Then no money. After the 2 years or 3 years or 1 year, after the contract time is over, then you can do whatever you want. Nope. If it's part of, then you have to pay a fee because it's a penalty. You agree to leave it alone, but now you're disturbing it. Oh, you broke the contract. Da-da-da. Example 2, 825 is invested for, ooh, careful everyone. Is that in years? No. At a rate of 2.25% per annum. Determine the amount of simple interest. I is equal to PRT. P is 825. What is R? How about we do the math this time because it's not as easy. 2.25% is the same as 2.25%.
0.0225.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. Some of you will see it's like, oh, yeah, just like before, move the decimal place twice. Other people might need to calculate that. Next, time. It's 230 weeks, but because this rate is in years,
So that's 52.
thank you. That's the word. That's the number I'm looking for. We have approximately 52 weeks in a year. So the time when converted into years,
It's like 40 something. 4 something.
4.442. That's all right. That's about enough. 4.42 years. So I equals P R T. Eight two five
82.0465.
65.
0.465.
Let's just do 2 decimal places. 82.05. Why 2 decimal places? Because we're talking about money, right? We don't care anything past the cents. So what is the total amount? A equals P plus I, which is 825 plus 82.05, 907. Yep, that's how much your money has grown to over the 4 years. Again, it doesn't seem like much, but any money is nice. Okay. Pardon? Yeah. Yes.
Wait, how does inflation happen?
The idea is that there are certain things that are valued more. So the question is, how does inflation occur? I don't want to spend too much time on it, so I'll talk very quickly. You know the war on Ukraine, correct? Currently. Both Ukraine and Russia are very big exporters of wheat. And so simple things like baking bread suddenly became very expensive. Why? There's less. So what happens if there is less?
Now I guess.
It's more expensive to find them
Yeah,
than, like, because everything is more valuable, it's like more rare.
absolutely. Think about it this way. Think about it this way. I've got myself 10 phones. Okay, they are the only cell phones in this world. Who's gonna want it? Everyone, right? That cell phone, which should be, let's say, $700, I can suddenly charge like $1 million a pop because all the rich people are like, I want that phone. I will buy it using my power of money, right? Now, let's pretend everyone already has the top of the line phone. I have 10 phones. Does anyone want it?
No.
No. The only people that might want it are the ones that like accidentally broke the phone, or they want to replace me, or they want two, one for social, one for business. Supply and demand. That's business 101. Good. Yes.
That's why,
Actually, there's something else to that. You're not wrong with the idea of business, but diamonds is something special. And we're spending so much time on this. I guess here, the idea of diamonds is there was way too much. Long time ago, before De Boers came and did an advertisement thing, diamonds were literally like a dime a dozen. You can buy diamonds for like dollars, easy. And they were going to go out of business. No matter how cheap they were going to sell diamonds, people were like, it's just shiny rock. What's the big deal? And then guess what they did? They went on a advertisement spree where with the, you know that classical music that goes da-na-na-na, 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 da-na-na-na. You remember that one? You know that song? The one that goes no, you guys suck. Anyways, it's a classical song. It doesn't have anything to do with age, you jerk. Anyways, there's using that as a bad, like they have this thing where, back when it was like, like a patriarchal society where males dominated, blah, blah, blah. It was like, the woman will love you more and be so excited if you propose to her with a diamond ring. And all of a sudden, every man who wanted to sort of show off, right, or want to make their woman happy, started buying diamond rings. And what happened to the demand? What happened to its popularity? Started to go up. So instead of selling it for $1, I can now say, hey, didn't you want it for your girl? Take this diamond, it's now $10 though. They're like, I can do that. It has come to a point where a single diamond can be sold for thousands, if not tens of thousands. The brilliance of marketing. So diamond is very special. It had nothing to do with supply and demand. It was just purely just demand. Plenty of supply, which is all the demand. Yes.
It's just like Rolex. Rolexes are made by China. It's like.
It's a brand. Yeah, you're paying for a brand. Absolutely. Yes.
Somebody used to say diamonds were
Maybe
the
the main brilliance and
too black.
Anyways, back to this. Everyone, I only have 20 minutes, so if you have questions, please hold it. Here is another way I can present the question. Hannah borrows $1,350. How much do they have to pay back? So instead of asking for principal and interest and final amount, I simply say, here's the info. How much do I have to pay back? Repaying means the final amount. I have to pay back the original amount that I borrowed, plus the interest as a thank you. So you have to calculate your interest and then calculate the final amount in one go. That is what you were supposed to do. So let's do this. P, $1,350. How much time? Let's write this down, 60 days. We'll calculate this later, leave some space. R, 8%, which is 0.08. What is my interest? And I want to calculate it, but I can't because there's a problem with the time. Hurry up and do what you need to do. It's not in years, so let's divide it.
like 0.8.
Yep, yep. So in decimals, let's just use decimal. Oh, it's a big repeat. 16438 something, something, something. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so putting this together, I is equal to 1350 times 0.08 times 0.16438. Let's just be as long as possible and then round it at the end. 1350 times 0.08 times 0.16438. $17.75. So how much do I have to pay back? Well, I borrowed this much, plus the thank you interest is this much. So we've got 1367.75. The what? The bank fee? No, the thank, yeah, it's the thank you interest. Remember we were talking about how interest was simply a form of thank you when you borrow in the culture. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So here are questions where I ask you in one go. Tio, hurry up. Okay. There are other examples, of course, where I don't ask for interest. I could ask for time. I could mix this up. Going to the next question. Let's go to the next page. And yeah, let's do this one. And you'll see how I can take the same equation and start tweaking it. Right off the top, what are they asking for? Not I. They're asking for? How long? They're actually asking for how long the time. Oh, that's my bad. So just let me. So we have a sum of 350, and it became the sum of 450 with a rate of this. Whoa, 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 whoa. They gave me P. They gave me R. They also gave me A. Ooh. Here, right in front. How do we piece that together? Your goal is to find T.
Would you do P divided by R?
No, you do T equals I divided by PR. And that's the way it happens.
You can't, because you're missing 2. Consider this. I don't know what my I is, so I'll leave it. I know what my P is. I know what my R is. I do not know what my T is. I have an equation with 2 unknowns. It's not solvable. However, I do have A. So keep this in the back burner, put it in the shelf somewhere. A is equal to P plus I. A is 450. P is 350. What's I? 350 plus something is 450.
So 450 minus 350 is equal to I, which is 100, which means that T is equal to 100 divided by.
Just relax. Okay. Right. So we have to take a breather using some other information, calculate your I, and it's going to bring it back. Okay. So now that we have this, now I can put it back in here. Let's solve it. I is 100, and that is equal to 350 times 0.0815 times T. So yes, I have 2 numbers multiplying. If you want to get T all alone, the multiplication is now division. This becomes 100 divided by 350. And then that number is again divided by 0.0815. Let's do it. You can. This becomes approximately 3.5 years. How long will it take from 350 and to grow it to 450? 3.5 years. That's why money is so hard to make, but so easy to spend, I suppose. That's why a lot of people get into finances, get into business, because they feel it's the best way for them to make money. Sure. Okay. Any questions? Please remember that the same can be said about this question. What are they asking for? At what rate? So they will provide all the information you need, but they're asking for rates. The initial investment is 725. The final amount became 800. The time is 8 months. So I will do this for you. It is 8 divided by 12 as a year. What is R? It's very similar to what we did up here. So I'm wondering, for homework, we still have 15 minutes. If you can complete all of the examples we have not done in this booklet, the back has independent practice questions like it was a textbook. Do as many as you can. In the least, finish this package. If you get to the homework questions, great. Do every other question. But please at least try to do these questions. The answer key to this will be made available online so you can cross-check it. Any questions of what you were expected to do right now? All right, this is your first lesson on financial literacy. I'm hoping all the stories that I'm telling aren't wasting your time, that you at least are getting something out of it, right? Just some factual knowledge or, I don't know, fun facts. And let's practice.